All right. Well, thank you for coming today to this orientation slash training for um, boot camp instructors. We are scheduled to have the landscape technician boot camp next Monday and Tuesday, May 8th and 9th at Pickens Technical College. I'll share a little bit later, but we do have 11 people registered. So a good size crowd, a decent size crowd for this. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the presentation here. Let me see if I can switch over so it looks like more. Okay. Okay. All right. So just a bit of background about the boot camp. This boot camp was designed primarily by NALP as preparation for the landscape industry certified technician testing. Most everybody involved in the boot camp instructing has been involved in the LICT testing in its old format in the hands-on and written format. This boot camp essentially converts the hands-on test problems that we used to have in the testing to sort of training. So we're focused now on training instead of testing. The boot camp is considered preparation for that testing. The testing happens now online instead of in person, and this is considered as preparation for that testing. The content was developed by NALP, as I mentioned before, based on the training manuals. It's a 2-day boot camp training on hands-on skills in 5 different modules. There's about 5 to 7 different lessons within the module. The lessons run 1 to 2 hours each. This will be the third time we've delivered this boot camp, and we kind of keep tweaking it and sort of combining or shortening lessons as it kind of makes sense to do that. Participants will receive the certificate of completion at the end of the training, and we do get a copy of the landscape training manual for their selected module as part of their registration fee. So they'll be kind of carrying that manual around with them as they rotate through the lessons, and that sort of forms the basis for what we're covering in each of the lessons. We do have qualified instructors teach the lessons. We prefer that they have LICT certification or prior experience with testing or with instructing in some capacity. We do prefer that and require that in some cases. We do provide a lesson plan to each instructor that kind of covers the how to kind of go about that lesson. I'll share one a little bit later on here. Here's sort of the breakdown of lessons by module. So you'll see that there's the 5 different modules: softscape installation, hardscape installation, irrigation, turf maintenance, and ornamental maintenance. And here are the different lessons by modules. You'll see that some of them are shared across the modules. Lateral repair and head adjustment has everyone but hardscape, all participants except those in the hardscape module will take that. And then we do have program controllers shared amongst the other amongst the modules as well, except for hardscape. So that's kind of the breakdown. This is the lessons individually. As you'll see, when we get to the schedule, we've combined some of these just based on our experience over time and kind of making sure that we're maximizing the instructor and participant times. We've kind of modified some of these. So I will tell you that we do now power blower and edger and trimmer are kind of all combined into one. We've also combined aerator and turf fertilizer in the turf maintenance module. We do the program controllers sessions. We kind of combine all of those into one. And then the irrigation folks stay just a little bit longer to go through some more advanced concepts, but with program controllers, but we do try to kind of maximize the time. We also, this time, I think, are combining tree planting and sod installation into one 2-hour lesson. It just seems that we don't need 2 hours for tree planting and sod, especially if we don't have a lot of people in the lesson. So we just kind of keep tweaking things over time and trying to kind of shrink the schedule as best as we can. We want to make sure we cover everything, but we also want to make sure we're respectful of people's time. And if we can shrink up things, we do. So that's kind of the breakdown of the lessons. Lesson plans. I'm not sure if I sent you yours yet or not, Jake. I think I did. Thank you. Yes, we do. The lesson plans kind of cover the background and required tools, material, and equipment for each lesson plan. We spend a bit of time on safety. There is sort of a classroom instruction portion, which is basically sort of your time to kind of instruct them on what to do. We don't really do that indoors. We usually have when they're at the test station outside, we just kind of cover those classroom instruction pieces, and then we move into the demonstration of the skill at the end of the lesson. So that's sort of the breakdown of how the lessons run. I'm going to attempt to show a lesson plan here really quick, just to kind of break that down. All right, hopefully you can see this guy on the sprinklers, adjusting a sprinkler head. This is the lateral repair and head adjustment lesson. So this is kind of your guideline as you're going through and preparing for your lesson. It kind of covers the outcomes, what you want to emphasize, instructor qualifications. The before class procedures are what we kind of want you to make sure you cover in the time before the lesson when you get there. We're asking for folks to be there. If you can get there an hour beforehand, that would be great. 45 minutes is probably good in some cases too. We just want to make sure that when you're there, you have everything you need before the lesson starts and you're not kind of fumbling around. So that's covers kind of what you need to have as far as the site selection. Then you'll get into materials here, equipment and tools, PPE and safety. This next piece is kind of as you're going through the classroom portion, these are the parts in the section of the manual that you'll be covering. So this is lateral repair is chapter 10 of the irrigation training manual. And it kind of goes through the rest of kind of how you're going to set up the lesson. The safety statement is very important. We want to make sure that the safety, as you're kind of going through your lesson, definitely emphasize the safety aspects of what and make sure you kind of hit all these points here within your own individual lesson. So that's very important. And then you're kind of go through pre-operational procedures, and then into the learning segment is kind of where you get into the demonstration of the skill and kind of how you're going to teach what you're going to teach. So it kind of goes over what PPE you need, the procedures for the actual task and skill. So you're going to demonstrate this, and then if there's time for folks to for the people in your students in your lesson to kind of do those skills as well, that would be great. Depending on time, sometimes you may not be able to, and depending on the materials that you have, you may not be able to have every single person complete things, but the goal is for everyone to understand what the task is. So that is sort of the lesson plan. And then the site layout is at the end here. And these will all look a little bit different, obviously, on depending on what you're teaching. All right, I'm going to stop sharing that, and everyone should have received those. So let me know if you have any questions on that as you're going through your lesson plan. Let me go back to my PowerPoint here. Expectations of instructors. You're responsible for teaching the lesson to participants. We really want them to feel comfortable doing this skill after the lesson is over. You must be comfortable with the materials and the skill that you're completing. So you definitely want to make sure you're assigned to something you've done before and you feel comfortable with. Instructors are required to gather all the necessary tools, material tools, and equipment. And when I'm sending out these lesson plans to folks, I will if there's equipment required, I will note that where that equipment is coming from. If there's any issues with the equipment as well, we do have a lot of equipment on site at Pickens. We also have several gracious suppliers who are supplying equipment. There was some theft out at Pickens several months ago, so we're still trying to track down some of the equipment that was there. Some equipment was stolen from the far reaches of Pickens. Our supply trailers out there actually were opened, and I don't think anything was taken from them, but we're just kind of trying to gather everything. back to those supply trailers at Pickens, that is where you're going to probably gather all the materials and tools that you need. Um, I can't guarantee that everything you need is going to be in there, but primarily it is. I'll make a note of, I'll address instructors individually if there's some question about what we additionally need, but some of those irrigation problems may need some additional equipment or tools, and we can figure out if we need those ahead of time. So just kind of FYI, what you need should be out there, but you are responsible for gathering everything. So we do want, that's why we kind of want you there ahead of time to make sure you have everything that you need. Instructors must be familiar with the site and ready to teach at their scheduled lesson time. After the lesson is complete, we want you to clean up the site and make sure you return the materials to wherever they came from, primarily the supply trailer or wherever it might come from. If you check in with me if you have equipment that you didn't bring or that was donated by a supplier, just make sure you let me know where it is. I'm fairly familiar with all the equipment that we are getting donated and things. So just kind of check in with me and make sure that the equipment gets put away or secured if it needs to be. So just make sure you clean up your site and don't leave anything out there that that can be taken or that someone's not aware of. So just make sure you clean up everything when you leave. And then again, classroom portion of the lesson is held outdoors. We don't plan to have you inside building E except for lunch, really. So that's the restrooms are there and you can use them there. But at the same time, we just we'll be conducting some other activities at the same time. So just make sure you're out there. It looks like the weather will be good for that, be good for the 2 days that we're out there. So the outside teaching should work well. Again, focus is on training and not testing. So a lot of you that are familiar with the LIC testing, you were sort of evaluating candidates and evaluating people on how well they could complete the skill. This switch is more towards training. So you want to make sure they understand how to do it. And this is where you can actually teach them. And some folks that were previously judges for testing kind of got frustrated because you couldn't teach them, and that was sort of against the rules. Now you can do that. So we want you to make sure that they can successfully complete the skills. There is no formal evaluation, so you're really just sort of trying to make sure everyone can get through the task and then and get through and has done it before. And a lot of times these folks that come here have done the skill before. They're just kind of looking for some more further training. So really, just kind of gauge where everyone is with the skill, pointers if you can, help out with their better understanding of how to do things. Very important, this is not an employee recruitment event, so please do not try to recruit employees. In many cases, these folks that are coming, their company is sending them and paying for them to attend, so please don't try to poach any of them for your own business. So the site preparation and workday, Friday, the site will be open. If you would like to go out there and visit the supply trailers and make sure that you have everything you need. If you do plan to go out there that day, let me know. I am planning to be out there for part of the day, but I can't spend multiple hours. So I'm trying to kind of coordinate if people are going out there and when they need to be out there so I can open up the trailers for folks. So if you do have some time on Friday to go out there, let me know and coordinate with me. Otherwise, do plan to be there at least 1 hour before your lesson time on either Monday or Tuesday. If there is anything that you need us to help source, let us know. Again, a lot of the materials are available at Pickens. Some of the irrigation problems may need additional materials. I'm thinking like the lateral repair and head adjustment. Sometimes the glue is dried out and things. I just put a bunch of new glue in the trailers the other day, so that might be okay. But please let me know if there's something else that you need. If you need like a easel or a whiteboard, we have those flip charts that you can use. If you would like one of those, please let me know. I'll bring some. We have, I think, 5 or 6, so they can all be used at the same time. But just make sure you check with me if you need one of those. The schedule is still slightly in flux because we do kind of try to work around people's availability, and we have the additional an additional conflict where Monday we're hosting 30 high school students taking some certification test problems that they'll be using the hands-on test stations. So some of those stations on Monday during the day will not be available. I believe when I sent you all your lesson plans, there's a tentative date and time. I'll let you know if that's different, but if you received your lesson plan already with a date and time, that's when you need to plan to be there. So some things are still a little bit in flux just because we'll be moving some things around on from Monday to Tuesday, but I'll let you know if that's the case. But Jake, I know yours is good for Monday afternoon at 3:00. Additional instructor needs. This seems like a long list, but I'm actually some of these have already been taken or will be taken soon, but we do still need a few additional instructors. If you have anyone else that's available, let me know. At this point in time, some of these will be taken or are already taken. So we primarily need irrigation instructors. So if you have anyone that is, can help out with irrigation stuff, that's our main issue right now. But these are some of the things I'm still trying to fill at this point in time. We have 11 total folks registered. So you won't have very many people at one time, I'm guessing. The most you'll probably have the lateral repair and head adjustment and program controllers. We'll have 10 at the most because they'll have all of the everyone but hardscape. So there'll be one hardscape, one softscape, 5 irrigation folks, 2 in turf and 2 in ornamental. So Jake, you'll have 3 people in your lesson with softscape and ornamental. Those are the folks that take that tree planting or that sod installation lesson. I mentioned earlier, but we do have a student certification testing event on May 8th. So that's Monday. We'll have 30 students and teachers kind of testing in the hands-on in the station. So please be aware that there'll be some high school students around. Students and teachers will join us for lunch on Monday, May 8th. Tuesday will be a lot less busy. If you're there on Tuesday, we will only have the folks that are associated with boot camp, but we'll have some extra folks there on Monday. So just please be courteous of them and be aware that they're high school students and act accordingly, of course. Lunch will be provided for everyone the day that you're there. We'll have lunch around noon, I think, is the plan on both Monday and Tuesday. You're welcome to join us. We'll also have, if you're there in the morning, we'll have some breakfast snacks around as well. So waters are also available and other drinks and that kind of thing will be there. So we'll make sure you're hydrated and all that. Let's see here. What else? We will be in building E. So I will be in building E. I'll have some walkie-talkies available. So if you need to get a hold of me, if you want to take a walkie-talkie out, otherwise, please just check in with me in building E when you arrive about an hour ahead of time. Building E is the mobile building that's, I guess, directly to the right. If you're in the testing area, it's to the right, kind of on your right-hand side. If you're kind of facing the Garvey Park, the area where we have the hands-on test problems or the stations. But it's very well marked. And that's where we'll be. We'll have lunch there. Please check in with me. Please bring your lesson plan when you come on site to teach, and then kind of just start. We're just expect for you to have everything set up. So please gather what you need and head out there to your station. And then we'll get, when you're done, bring everything that you need back to the trailer. If you're able to let me know you're leaving, that'd be great if you have anything to give to me. I will primarily be in building E. Monday, I might be moving around a little bit, but with the testing and everything, but I'll kind of be around. Our staff will be there as well on Monday. If you need anything, we'll be all kind of floating around the area. So just grab one of us. And I think that's about it for logistics. Any questions? Jake, if you have any questions.
Nope, I'm good.
Okay, thank you. Please contact me if you've got any questions. We really thank you for your help with this event. As I mentioned, it's the 3rd time we've offered the boot camp. We kind of keep gaining, tweaking things and improving it over time. We really hope this helps people both get started for the season and refresh on some skills they may need to refresh on, or learn some skills they may need before, as the season's kind of kicking off. And then also it is preparation for the LICT. So we do encourage them to, once they've gone through this process, it's a great way to kind of just get further validation for their skills to go through the certification process. And this hopefully puts them in a good position to pass those tests. So we really appreciate your help with that. Again, let me know if you have any questions. Otherwise, I'll let you get on with your day. Thank you so much. Thanks, Jake.